Hello, beautiful, and a big warm welcome to the very first episode of Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast. Oh, this is exciting. So, I'm Amy Louise Connor, your host, and I just want to start off by saying how exciting this is for me and how much I appreciate you joining me today. Whether you're joining me here at the very start or whether you found me a little bit further down this podcasting adventure, I just want to take a moment to say how much I appreciate you tuning in and sharing this space with me. So, let me introduce myself. I'm Amy Louise Connor, your host, and I'm the founder of Vagina Truth Bomb, which I abbreviate to VTB for ease. And I want to start this podcast by letting you know that I've made a promise to myself. And the promise I've made to myself is I've given myself permission to show up imperfectly. And let's face it, perfection just doesn't exist. It's a concept that's been created to keep us playing small and to stress us all out unnecessarily. And the need to be perfect has stopped me from showing up in so many different areas of my life. And I think everybody listening will be able to relate to this in some way. When we think about doing something new, when we think about stepping out of our comfort zone, the fear of getting it wrong or it not being good enough can paralyze us. And for me, this is definitely the case. And I have been procrastinating around this podcast for such a long time because it is a really huge step out of my comfort zone for me. It's something that I really, really want to do. It's something I'm really passionate about. But so many things have come into my head that have stopped me because I haven't felt that the podcast will be perfect. And if it's not perfect, it's not of value, which is bullshit. And I know it's bullshit, but we tell ourselves these things, we get stuck in these patterns, and like I've said, we just stop and we don't do anything, we don't move forward. And I'm just going to share with you in this first episode some of the things that I've worried about in relation to creating this experience, this podcast. So one of the things that's really come up for me as an issue is my insecurities around my speech and around my ability to communicate. And if you know me, this may make you smile or chuckle, because anyone who knows me knows that I love to talk. I love to have deep and meaningful conversations. I love connections. And anyone who exchanges voice notes with me will know that you can get a pretty lengthy voice note from me. So I am somebody who talks a lot, but I have a lot of insecurity around my voice. And when I was younger, I had a speech impediment, which I still have snippets of it now and again. And it's really knocked my confidence. And I struggle to pronounce certain words. And when I get heightened emotions such as stress or excitement or passion or anger, when I'm really trying to communicate a point, this just amplifies itself. Like, it just shows up, and I can really struggle to pronounce certain words. And I worry that that makes me not good enough to host a podcast, and it'll make me come across as someone who's stupid, uneducated, etc., etc. And I also have an ADHD brain, which is a superpower in one sense, that I love how my brain works, but I have to treat her with the respect that she needs and give her the environment that she needs to thrive. And sometimes that environment isn't what everybody else expects. And one of the things that can come up for me, which kind of coincides with the speech impediment and the pronunciation piece, is that I can forget what I want to say. So again, when I'm talking passionately, when I am really wanting to communicate clearly, words can just escape me. And again, I just get complete brain freezes, and this makes me feel inadequate, insecure. It makes me feel that I'm not good enough, all of those things. And it's not nice. Like, the fear of being judged by others is huge, isn't it? And feeling that some people might not like you, or that they may not like what I've got to say, and all of these pieces coming up for me when I think about actually sitting down and recording an episode, because I've got lots to say. I've got like Google document after Google document of episodes that I want to share with you, and stuff that I want to put forward, conversations I want to start. But actually sitting down and doing it, all of these fears have come up for me. And then I have all the other fears, which some of them are a bit silly. So this is when I kind of got to the point where I took a step back and was like, hang on a minute, Amy, what is going on here? Let's get to, let's address this. Let's get to the root of the problem. And I worry that you'd be able to hear something in the background. The dogs might bark, or my husband might breathe, and you'd hear his existence. Or I might swear. Well, it's probably guaranteed that I'm going to swear, because, again, when I get passionate, I get sweary. So be prepared for some cuss words coming in. But I also panicked that I might laugh, or that I might get upset and cry, or that emotion might just overcome me. And I was just, all these things just coming up, and I literally had to sit down with myself and have a conversation with myself, which happens quite a lot, and realise that everything that I was putting forward, all the resistance that was coming up for me around starting this podcast, all boiled down to me feeling that I am not worthy, that I'm not good enough. And I know I am. I just have to remind myself of that and work on it. So this is some work that I've been doing on myself recently. And when I give myself the space to step back and to be imperfect, that's what people want. People want the real me. People don't want this polished brand, because that's not what I am. Like, I am me. What you see is what you get, or what you hear is what you get. And I do everything from my heart and with authenticity. So after I'd made this realization, I realized how much fun it can be to create a podcast and to start conversations and to share my knowledge with people, because the big piece here is that I know what I have to share is of value to people, and I know that I can help people. So by worrying whether my voice goes a bit croaky like it is at the moment, or whether I cough, or whether you hear me drink my tea, or whether I fart, like that genuinely is a huge concern for me in everything that I do. Like every time I go and try something new or go somewhere, it's always in the back of my mind, oh goodness, what if I fart? What if my body lets me down and I do a big trump? And it's silly. Like, I just laugh at myself when I think about it, because I'm like, why is the fart fear coming up? Where's this come from? But all of these pieces, like, this is me. So I'm starting off this podcast by setting the tone and letting you know that this podcast is proudly imperfect, and you are welcome to join me as a proudly imperfect listener, because this is what we need, isn't it? We need to get real. Okay. So now we've cleared that up. Now you know what's coming your way. Unfiltered carnage that's coming ahead. Let's step into Vagina Truth Bomb and what I do. Okay, so one thing you will know, or you will get to know about me, is that I think a lot about everything. And again, it goes back to having the ADHD brain, and actually giving myself a label or a title is something that I really struggle with. But one that I've settled on at the moment is a woman's health agent of change. And that's because I want to see change in the world of women's health. And that's what Vagina Truth Bomb is about. And I'm going to talk in future episodes about my personal journey with my own health and how that's led me to where I am today. But for the sake of this first episode, I want to share something that I created recently. And it links in really well with the title that I call myself, a women's health agent of change. And recently I was invited to journal on the question, what change do I want to see in the world and why? And when I first wrote the question down and set off to give it an answer, I got completely overwhelmed, because I was thinking about everything in the whole wide world. So I gave myself a time limit. I think I gave myself something like 15 minutes, and I made it specific to Vagina Truth Bomb. And I'm going to share with you what I wrote in response to that. But before I start reading it out, I want to share with you that as soon as I started creating the response, what came up for me is, it's not a change that I want to see in the world. It's a change that I need to see in the world. It's essential. It's like a non-negotiable thing that I need. I don't want it. I need it. And that really came up for me, that this difference as to, you know, it's not just a desire, it's essential that this happens. So, without further ado, let me read you the answer to the question, what change do I want to see in the world and why? I want/need to see a change in the world of women's health, where the wisdom of the body is respected and understood. A world where there is no more numbing of symptoms or interrupting essential bodily processes such as ovulation, menstruation, and menopause. A world where the womb and other female reproductive organs are given the respect they deserve. Women will stop giving agency of their body, health, and well-being away to medical professionals, pharmaceutical companies, the fashion and beauty industry, patriarchal society, politicians, etc., etc. Women will take time to tune out the noise and listen to what all of her needs with deep love. They will connect to their worthiness, spirituality, and intuition without second guessing it. I need to see a change to a trauma-informed world where health, happiness, compassion, and kindness come before financial profit. I need a change to a world of deeper connection to Mother Nature and all of her power, deeper connection to ourselves, and deeper connection to each other. A world with less of ego and more of vulnerability, love, joy, and kindness. And why do I want to see these changes? I need to see these changes as I can hear and feel humanity and our planet crying out for them. So I have made a promise to myself to turn up imperfectly, to create action for the changes I need to see within women's health. And I'm inviting you now to come along for the journey as a fellow women's health agent of change. If you're up for the adventure, then subscribe to the podcast. We'll be having some fun along the way, whilst also getting to know and understand ourselves and our bodies better. And it's very much my intention to use the experience and knowledge that I have to help you regain agency over your health, your body, and your well-being. So let's change the narrative together. I really look forward to connecting with you in the next episode, and I wish you a wonderful day. P.S. You are amazing. Thank you for listening to this episode of Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast. It is a real honour to have you listening. I would love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and takeaways from this episode, and you can share them with me via the VTB community, which is accessible through my website, vaginatruthbomb.com. You can also share them via social media platforms, making sure that you tag me so that we can connect. All of my social media links are in my show notes. I would really love and appreciate it if you could help me in growing my audience by sharing this podcast with others who you think it will interest, or adding a screenshot to your stories and tagging me so I can send you some love back. Also, if you subscribe, follow, and review the podcast on the platform you're listening to, this will be a huge help too. Have a beautiful day, and I will catch you in the next episode. Much love, Amy.